Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. Today's video is a very strange one. This is something that was quite unsettling and quite upsetting as well. Basically, we've got a guy that lives in Poland. He's a Polish chap and he's worked for us for a couple of years. A really nice guy, really good worker, does everything that you would want in an employee. Anyway, so he handed his notice in and wanted to go back to Poland because the story is that his son is only about a year old, and he had, I think it was, if I remember correctly, it was like a brain tumor or something, and obviously that needed his attention. So we talked him into going back to Poland because he just wanted to stay and earn the money. So he went back to Poland, and then a couple of months later he sent me an email saying that he'd like to return for 6 months of the year, and if we could do like a fixed term contract for him, which I was like, yeah, that's no problem at all. He's such a hard worker and he's a lovely guy. So I was like, yeah, absolutely, we can do 6 months, no problem at all. So that was what was arranged, and he was supposed to have started at the beginning of this week, or on Tuesday. And basically what's happened is he's come back from Poland and he's had the flu or flu-like symptoms, and he's been really under the weather with it. And he came back for his first shift with us, and halfway through the shift he's had to go home because he was just really ill. So he left at like 2 o'clock in the morning, and then he's turned up for the next shift still really under the weather, but he's, you know, battled through it and got through the shift. And an hour before the end of the shift, something really strange happened to him. And basically what happened was he was in his office and his son, who's like 1 year old, has run past the office onto our factory shop floor, quickly followed by his wife chasing him, like as if like his son's got away from her and she's like frantically chasing after him. So he then comes out of the office frantically chasing both of them. Oh, sorry, come on. We're being too nice. Sorry about that. So where was I? Yeah, so I think he was chasing her out chasing them both out onto the shop floor, where his son has disappeared around the back of one of our machines, because we got this big heavy machinery, and his wife then disappears, and they're then talking to him from inside the machine. So he then obviously panics, and he's frantically trying to get them out of the machine, and he's talking to them through the guards of the machine, and everyone else is panicking because everyone has seen him panic, and so they're obviously trying to help him and assist him and trying to find out what the hell's going on. And he's then saying to them, my wife and my son are in the machine, they're trapped in the machine. So obviously this confused all the other workers. They're like, what the hell's going on? And this went on and on for a while. We went and got the other workers who are Polish, and we said to them, can you talk to him in Polish, because it might just help communicate better to let him know that everything's okay and his family aren't here, they're not in the factory. But that seemed to agitate him even more, so we're not too sure what he was responding with, because he was only talking to us in Polish, and obviously we don't talk Polish, so it was a really stressful time. So this went on for about 2 hours, and he was climbing on top of the machine. It was quite a sort of quite a horrible scenario, a horrible situation. We actually called an ambulance. We dialed 999 and we told them what was happening. They were then going to send the paramedics to us, which obviously took a long time, because a call like that, I suppose, isn't a priority call. You know, you've got car accidents, you've got all that, which are obviously a higher grade incident, which obviously took a higher priority. So the ambulance was already been for about an hour, I think, when I turned up to work, and obviously they told me what was going on, and I noticed, you know, there was a paramedic sat in a car sort of close by. So I went up to her and said, look, we've got a guy here. I explained the situation to her, and she said, yeah, that's fine, I'll come. So she assigned herself to the job. Turns out she was actually Polish, which was amazing. It was like literally fate to put her there in that position. So anyway, she's come into the factory and managed to get him away from the machine and sit him down, but he was still talking to them. He could still hear the voices. He could still, you know, he was still panicking about the situation. And he kept sort of like standing up and going outside, coming back in and going back up to the machine. So he was very distressed still. So it was a really horrible scenario. for him, for the paramedic, for us, it was not good that we got him to phone his wife, because we obviously have her contact details. So we got him to phone her. It did calm him down, but it sort of seemed to confuse him, because why is he hearing these voices when he's talking to his wife over the phone? And then he was convinced then that there was someone else in the machine, because someone's talking to him. After a couple of hours of being with the paramedics, the ambulance turned up and they were like, you know, we'll take him to a specialist unit and we'll try and get him some psychiatric help, you know, and get him assessed. So basically he agreed to all that. He agreed to the support. He understood that there was no one in the machine, but he was still very, very distressed by it. Off he went to the hospital. The paramedics sort of said to us just before they left that they think it was a combination of extreme exhaustion and tiredness and total stress. Like his mind has just gone pop, because he's just overloaded with stress from coming back to England and leaving his family, who he went back over there to be with, because obviously his son's been through a lot this year with his operation and he's obviously had to deal with that. His wife is obviously missing him because he's having to come to England to work, to earn money, because obviously they earn much better money over here. So he's kind of sort of not forced to work over here, but it's best for his family. So he's had to leave his family behind again, which has obviously had massive effect on his mental health. And the fact that, you know, he drove from Poland to here as well, so he was on the car for, I think it was 21 hours in total. So he's gone through so much, and he only just arrived in England a couple of days ago, well, a couple of days before his first shift, so he probably didn't have time to catch up on sleep from the exhaustion of coming over here, the stress of being over here, missing his son and his wife, and he's just had a total mental breakdown. And basically he's never ever suffered with mental health issues before in his life, so this was all new to him. So you can imagine it was extremely scary for him, extremely worrying. Why am I having to deal with this? Why is this happening to me? He could not rationalize with himself. He could not have rational thoughts to say, why is there someone inside this machine? And even after he took all the guards off, he could see there was no one in there, but he was still convinced that there was someone there, because he was hearing these things and he'd seen his wife and son run past, and it, as he described, it wasn't like a sort of a mirage or a fuzzy. He said they were there, they were like solid in front of him, as if it was a real person. So why is he seeing these people, and what is happening to him? This stuff is real, and I've never ever seen anything like it. And obviously, as you've seen my few videos I've done, I suffer myself from stress and anxiety and panic attacks, and you name it, I've suffered with it. I've never ever seen or heard anything as strong as what happened to him, and I feel so sorry for him. And he's now having to sort of recover from that. I have spoken to him since, and he says he's fine. He is ready to come back to work after a few days recovery, but the doctors have sort of said, you know, you need to take a few days off, which is obviously understandable. How do you deal with it? You know, you couldn't reason with him. There's nothing we could have said to bring him away from that machine. Well, until the paramedics managed it, but you know, people aren't trained to deal with stuff like this. You know, we don't know how to handle stuff like that. So, you know, how do you get through it? How do you support someone? How do you calm someone down? It's just one of them things that you just can't imagine what it's like until it happens. So this video was just about an understanding of what he went through and what is possible with stress, because you think stress just brings on panic attacks and you know, maybe anxiety or whatever stress can bring, you know, headaches, migraines, sickness, anything. Stress can be a killer, can't it? But so that's really some of the symptoms that you associate with stress. But hallucinating and not being able to have rational thoughts and all that, I mean, that really it blew me away, and I just felt so sorry for him. You know, have that awareness, guys, and just understand that is what the mind can do to you. It's a tough place to be in. I'm going to say it once again, please subscribe to my channel if you've discovered it. The community I really want to build, and so we can chat and sort of discuss stuff. That is my intention, like I've said in every one of my videos, I think. So please subscribe and get involved, and don't be scared to chat in the comments. I will answer back every single comment. You never know, your comment might trigger off another video that we can discuss as well. Maybe I can give you some support or help or advice or whatever. I don't know. I have been suffering for a very, very long time, so I am very experienced in the subject. Not that I want to be, obviously. So with that said, guys, thank you ever so much for watching my videos, and until next time, I'll see you again very soon.